In AD 80, after 12 years of stern construction work according to the will of Emperor Domitian, Rome witnesses the completion of the greatest death arena, the Colosseum. The invincible master of Capua has once again defeated the gladiators of the Roman Imperial School of Rome. The Colosseum welcomes another group of fierce warriors, Ahen's Gladiators. The Emperor is exasperated as for the second day in a row he watches the defeat of the gladiators of the Roman Imperial School. None of Ahen's champions have yet lost. Today's contest is the last of a whole week of these bloody games. Rome is heading into summertime and the heat becomes unbearable. The spectators faint in the full sun. The Emperor has announced the next games are to be held in 3 months' time. The summer break in the most prominent gladiatorial schools is a time for recovering from injuries. Ahen is of Celtic origin. He deals in warrior training and gladiator fights and also trades in amber. In the summer camp, he is supported by his daughter Andra and his son Morgan, who are very keen both on the gold earned from the trade and the fights. They are accompanied by Gordon, an experienced doctora, a fight instructor who teaches gladiators how to survive in the arena. Reach Cassius holds a reception in his villa before his summer trip to the Adriatic Sea. The main attractions are the fights of the gladiators who feature in the autumn games. Cassius is a famous editor, an influential imperial administrator who is responsible for the Colosseum. Before the evening feast, the gladiators present their techniques in agility. Between the fights, they present themselves one by one in full armor. Athletic champion, Ardo. Morgan as Rhetarius. Another Rhetarius. Another group of fighters. Nobody gets killed. It is only a show. 2 gladiators under the command of Ahen act against Rhetarius Morgan, assisted by Ardo. In the next clash, Ahen tests the skills of a young warrior fighting with a spear. The warriors present their techniques and their agility in various gladiator categories. One of the guests, Senator Marcius, challenges Cassius by announcing that he is going to train champions who will be able to defeat any of his gladiators. They make a bet, putting down a fortune. The rules are clear. In 2 months' time, in Cassius's villa, each of them will put up no more than 5 armed gladiators of a preferred category. Victory in each fight will be gained by inflicting an evident wound to the opponent, whereas the winner of the overall bet will be the party whose gladiators are the first to win 3 fights. Marcius looks closely at Ardo. The champion effortlessly wields a 20-pound shield. Immediately after making the bet with Cassius, Marcius gathers the gladiators bought from Ahen in the harsh conditions of the desert. The warrior practices fighting with gladiuses and then with daggers. The senator wants to make sure that he owns champions who can fight in various gladiator categories. When placing the bet with Cassius, cunning Marcius was pretending to be inebriated with wine. In fact, half a year earlier, he had already bought the champion of Capua. Now his new gladiators bought from Ahen are training their endurance under scrutiny of the Rhetarius of Capua. Marcius has huge political ambitions. He has engaged in an intrigue to undermine Cassius's position in the imperial court. He has even already promised his cousin a position of an editor. Marcius wants to have an influence upon the games in the Colosseum, and gladiator fights are the best way to gain esteem in Rome. Marcius wants to win the Emperor's recognition by gifting him the victorious champions. Marcius does not want to take any risks. He recollects a champion of Ahen's school who Ahenons refused to sell. The senator believes in the potential of his gold. He has decided to send one of his most experienced instructors to the summer camp to negotiate with Ahen. Marcius is waiting impatiently for another fighter just as powerful as Ardo, the champion of Ravenna. In Ahen's summer camp, Dr. Gordon allows his trainees to fight with sharp swords. He does not need to worry about the gladiators rebelling, as his warriors are free Celts who fight for money and fame, and who avoid competing against each other in the arenas. The messengers from Marcius have just arrived at Ahen's camp with the intention of buying an athletic champion. Ahen initially refuses, which makes them very upset. Celtic amber tincture soothes the atmosphere of the negotiations. After accepting a very high price, Ahen agrees to allow a champion to be chosen and sold. He is afraid of the wealthy and ambitious senator. Ahen hides from Marcius's messengers the previous day's agreement with editor Cassius, in which he promised to train gladiators to win the editor's bet with the senator. The contract is risky. Ahen will supply his gladiators free of charge and then will earn half the sum won by Marcius. Now he has a problem, as Marcius's legates have bought his best champion, Ardo, which in the language of Celts means enraged bear. After hearing an oath sworn on a sword, Ahen knows whom he can count on. Ardo joins Marcius's gladiators. Wielding a heavy shield, he fights with Gladius. He practices fighting with a spear against the champion of Capua. They sternly repeat some of the techniques. Ardo shows his readiness for the fight to win Marcius's great bet. The young warrior is not a demanding training partner for Ardo. Ardo practices in various categories, as he does not know against whom he is going to fight and what sort of armor his opponent from Cassius's team will choose. Ardo recollects the good moments. He used to have Ahen's respect and Malgan's friendship. Andra also liked him and favored him above all the other free Celts. The tournament with Marsh's gladiators in the center's villa eventually takes place. The display of power. Ardal and the famous champion of Ravenna, accompanied by the guardsmen, enter the arena. A slave who, by the order of Marsh's, spent 2 last nights with the champions, now follows them with her eyes. The center loudly tells nasty anecdotes to Cassius's family. He drinks wine without moderation, which makes him visualize a slave as the goddess of fortune. To the surprise of all the guests, Morgan arrives in the arena accompanied by armed Ahen. All the champions look fabulous. The slave is stricken with anxiety. In the first fight, Ardal, Ahen's former champion, attacks sharply with a spear. Morgan gives up. The wound is not deep, so he gets up by himself. Marshus laughs, pointing at the slave. Fortune has spilled the wine. She's not on Cassius's side today. There is an unexpected clash between the gladiators. Morgan and Ahen himself fight against Rotarius and the Laquarius fighting for Marshus. The surprising result is that the gladiators bought from Ahen win the game. Delighted, Marshus mocks the defeated warriors. He's very close to winning the bet with Cassius. It is enough to have one more round won by his gladiator. Ahen and Morgan need to deal with some minor injuries. Andra has prepared a surprise. In a very focused manner, she gazes into Marshus' eyes. Gladiators are scared of her Celtic spells. While she performs a show with a serpent, Cassius phlegmatically offers to double the bet. Marshus agrees. They sign a contract and another surprise. Andra is now the opponent of the champion from Capua fighting for the senator. Her victory is undoubted. The champion's wounds are slight. Ahen is willing to help his daughter at any moment. This time, he does not have to use his dagger. Now there comes a moment of real trial for the warriors. Andra is to fight against Ardal, who needs to forget his good memories from Ahen's school. Marshus did not expect Andra to win. The 2-2 tie infuriates him. The slave watches her lover of last night go. For Marshus, she's still the goddess of fortune who remains on his side. The senator insults Cassius and Ahen, and the two calmly propose that Morgan should fight opponents simultaneously. They also talk about doubling the bet. The bet is doubled. The senator has pledged his ancestral house, which he inherited from his father. For the final duel, he has put up a mighty champion from the school of Ravenna and the agile master from Capua. Morgan is armed with 2 gladiuses, as Dimicar is fighting simultaneously with the Rotarius and the Threats. In his imagination, Morgan sets the fight in the arena of the Colosseum. The audience chants his name, boosting his will to win. Morgan wins the match, and Cassius wins a gigantic fortune, half of which falls into the hands of Ahen. In Morgan's imagination, the crowd is cheering in his honor. The slave is distraught and despairing. She knows she's going to have a different master. For the drunken Marcius, crushed by his defeat, the wine seems like blood. The only way out for the fallen senator is to die in the Roman style by slashing his wrists in a bathtub of lukewarm water. The Colosseum is filled with people cheering in honor of the emperor, who is opening the next games. No one remembers any longer that Marcius lost his inheritance and the senator's toga. Cassius has retained the lucrative function of the editor. He hopes to carry on doing business with Ahen, who has taken on all of Marcius's gladiators. Andra and Morgan are going to become legends of the Colosseum. It is not the end. There follows a very short history lesson of the gladiators. During the times of the Empire, numerous amphitheaters and gladiator schools were founded. Emperor Augustus wrote down the first set of rules and divided the gladiators into categories. Andabata, Arbellus, Democharis, Gallus, Hoplomachus, Lacruarius, Marmillo, Provocator, Rhetarius, Sagittarius, Samnis, Secator, Threx, Velus. These were the gladiators who would traditionally fight on foot. However, the arenas also hosted other popular categories of fighter, such as Paganarius, Equus on horseback, and Acidarius in a chariot. Meet Ahen's gladiators.